again, a very different question. To make sure that the audience did gain something out of our interaction. So, three factors in your CV that made difference in your match. This can be maybe somebody complimented you during your interviews, or this can be the reason for your interview, or anything which you feel, yes, these were my three factors, and those factors made the maximum difference. Okay, it can be anything. So yeah, let's start with Dr. Surbi now. I mean, what do you think are the three factors, and then of course we can go one by one to all of
Okay, I think this is something that we all speak about a lot. For me, I think one thing that really helped me in getting a lot of interviews were my scores. So your scores are important because I think every college wants to have this minimum cutoff score beyond which it's like a pride of for them as well, right? They can show that, okay, last year we had students who had an average score of this much. So scores was really important for me. Another thing which I got a lot of compliments on was my personal statement. So I had a lot of interviewers tell me that my personal statement was something that really attracted them, and they were like, okay, based on this, I really think I would want this person here. And the third thing I would say is my US clinical experience. If I just had A and B, it might not have been enough, but having US clinical experience was extremely important because that told them that A would just tell them that I'm somebody who's good at exams. B could be anything. I could have easily faked it. But with US clinical experience, they know that, okay, this person is not fake. This person can actually is a good person, can fit into the system. And they know that international letters of recommendation can be easily faked, but US clinical rotation letters cannot be faked. So that proved my legitimacy to them to fit into the US clinical system. I think these were the three most important factors.
all right, what about you, Vibhor?
think I think the most important thing which helped me was that it was written very nicely. The descriptions of CV has to be written in a way that the first line should be about the rotation, what rotation it was, what weeks, inpatient, outpatient, uh, was it supervised directly or indirectly, where it was. So you have to, that first line of description should be very perfectly written, and then those points should be of your what you did, that should be written very well. And then in the end you have to write a line about how, what you gained from those experiences, so that if an interviewer has to read it, he can just read that last line and get to know what the gist of those points is. So everyone commented that my CV is written very well. I have reviewed CVs of a lot of many people. They have really great experiences, but it's written very poorly. So it's very important that you write it very well. All of It's more important that you write your CV well as compared to doing rotations. So writing the CV is very important, and also the personal statement. It has to be written very well. So that was one point. Then second was scores, as Surbi mentioned. Uh, Anything above 250 is good. Then USC, of course, the rotations that you do plus research. One thing more, that is in internal medicine, research can fetch you university programs, but community programs do not care much about research, but sometimes they will also ask you a few questions about research during your interviews. So you should be very well versed about whatever research you have done. Do some publications, work with US physicians, and get published in AHA, CHEST, or something, some journal which is American. Then that will definitely help you.
Perfect. How about you, Mayuri?
Right. So I would say my journey was a little different, and also I will have a little bit different points as well, because for me, I did my medical school in the Caribbean. So I already had like a scheduled couple years of clinical rotations in US, and the clinical side were also in US itself. So where I had my rotations, I was there for a couple of years, and that's where I got like three of my interviews from the same state, and I actually matched there itself. So for me, it was USCE was one thing, yes, because I had like couple years of US clinical experience. Second thing was connections. I was able to meet people from residencies who were doing like I would say attendings as well. So I did had a physician who did recommended me at a residency program. So networking was another thing. And the last thing was being human, you know, like it's not all about medicine. During my interviews, like instead of getting more scores or like CV on personal statement questions, because I was from the area and I got interviews from the same state, I had more questions. I was like, oh, where have you been in Maryland? Or like how did you like in Baltimore, what do you like most about Baltimore, you know, or things like that, like what do you like soccer, because they have soccer and baseball grounds there, you know. So more of personalized, or what outside of medicine did I do, outside of medicine in the sense that outside of hospital what interests me more, so more about my hobbies. So it went into a personalized touch rather than more of a professional conversation for me. So yeah, just be natural in this, in the way that, you know, outside of medicine also you have a life, you are a human, you like making friends, you like going out, because at the end of the day in residencies you are working with other people, you're working with other colleagues, so they want to know that will you be able to get well along them, you know, like will you be able to talk to them or sit down and have fun, you know, or hang out. So that was that three things worked for me.
Great, great. This is something very interesting, and I want to point out few things. So, as you can already hear that, for different individuals, different things work, all right? And that is the message which I wanted to put across, that although everybody has a standard checklist of what has to be done, but everybody, has his own unique journey. So very well you mentioned, Mayuri, that your personal experience, absolutely no doubt. And exactly to that, what Surbi and Vibhor mentioned, the SOP, personal statement, because that again is your unique journey which you've written down in written form. Vibhor also mentioned how well you write your CV. So at times presentations also matter a lot. When we say you should have your professional LinkedIn profile, a Twitter profile, it shows that your identity. So a lot of time what happens is that you exist, but nobody knows. All right. So it's all about how you present yourself. Otherwise, of course, the standard scores, research, everything is there. But most important thing, the message which I would also convey to each one of you would be that everybody has a unique story, and it has to be your own, and you can be as honest as possible. One message very importantly, that you need not fake 20 certificates in your CV, not required. You might have just done two things, but if you've done it out of your heart, it will connect. The message does go across, because at end of the day, these program directors are physicians who are looking for trustworthy people who can, run their programs. That's the only agenda. So don't see it as something exceptionally different. A lot of times we make our dreams so big that it feels unachievable. As you try to kind of get used to the fact that it is possible. That's how your dreams can manifest. So it's very important to take it as if a normal challenge.